Artwork, compadre.
Thank you.
So Doug and Sam are going to bring out a few more chairs, you guys, so you all have a chance to sit down. And while they do that, I met Linda a few months ago when she brought in some of these pieces, which I was just literally blown away by. I mean, I'd heard of the Bukowski pieces just from the lore, never had seen it before up close. But the Ferlinghetti piece, the Jack Michelin, where Jack's got that tilt to his head, the Harold North piece, she's loaned those to the Beach Museum. We've had them on exhibit for a while, which has been really, really terrific. We get a lot of comments on them on a regular basis. I don't know if you're going to be casting any of those, but they didn't even talk about that, as whether you'll be casting those and selling those at some point in the future. But we had a chance to talk and decided to bring Linda in for this event, and really glad that you folks could be here tonight as well. So she's going to read to us a little bit, talk about her life and her experiences. So how about if we bring her up with a real warm round of applause.
Book of Bukowski Undigested probably would never have been completed without the help of my son. This is my son right here with the camera. He kept urging me to do it, and then he contacted Matt, and before I turned my head, Matt had done 100 paintings, and I said, oh my Lord. I was still dragging my feet, and I said, well, and then I remember this old dream I had. I said, if you ever get broke, I had this dream that if I ever got broke, I had a Bukowski rug that was on my floor, and all I had to do was reach in his mouth, and I'd pull out some money. So I said, how? Maybe this is the time to do it. So I went ahead and found all these little mags that I'd been in that had poems about Bukowski in the 70s. These are mostly poems about Bukowski, and after we split, he didn't write about me and I didn't write about him. It was like it was kind of painful. That's why it was. People used to call me and ask me for a poem or something, and then I would write about it, but it was almost like it was a wound that you didn't want to open up, So I think that's why the silence was there. So I want to thank Matt for coming all the way out from Washington, D.C., if you can imagine, and also painting all these pictures, and it got me going here. So I'm going to read, a lot of you might be aware that a lot of people confuse me with Linda Lee, his wife, which I am not his wife. I was before Linda Lee, and I was with him for about 5 years. I got together with him about the time he was working on post office, and we were with each other. My book says this is a collection of poems written too far about Charles Bukowski when I first read his poetry and sculptured his head. I was newly divorced and determined to be a liberated woman. I fell in love with Bukowski over the clay, and the love and the war began. That's the way I put it. Does that sound all right out here? Okay. I'm going to read this kind of in a sequence that kind of tells a little story about the time I was with him. I happen to be, if you've read the book of women, I happen to be the first woman in that book. I thought that. He put me with all those other women. I said, well, I guess one other woman, I guess. But somebody, I met Bukowski, I first heard of Bukowski when I went to this little bookstore in Hollywood called The Bridge. It was just a little hole in the wall, and a guy named Peter, I'd been there at night, wall paintings on the walls all over, just painted right on the wall itself, and I've seen him light the pipe. The stove was supposed to go in the pipe, but he'd light the end of the pipe, and the flame would be right out in the middle of the room from the pipe. I said, this somehow seems dangerous. Maybe the whole gas line could blow up all the way down through the city or something, you know. But he was kind of a crazy guy. So, I'm going to start with this poem that he told me about Bukowski. Peter, he said that Bukowski was the best poet in Los Angeles. And I was newly divorced, and I was running around looking for something to do, and so this is called Wide Awake. I read 3 books by Charles Bukowski. He's not a poet to sleep and dream by. He wakes you up. I'm a sleepy girl. I don't often get so wide awake. He does a pretty life. I thought that was a poet's job. He should call it history. He should call it life. It's 2 a.m. I already touched myself, and I was careful not to think of Charles Bukowski. I almost went to sleep and came back wide awake. Charles Bukowski might do men. Cherry or that crazy Peter, he probably takes whomever arrives. How many holes? His hole, her hole, asshole, whorehole, manhole. He calls himself an old tiger that screams at the tiger in me. I pat around at night in the body of a tiger, but sleep with dogs. Bukowski will die like a dog, dead drunk. They'll know him by his stripes. Daddy was enough drunk for this family. Who loved the old drunks? I loved one who couldn't get it up. They love alcohol more than making love. I could have fallen in love with Bukowski when he still believed in love. Jealous of Jane. Wide awake. 4 a.m. I wrote that. Up until this time, I'd been writing traditional kind of poetry, and after reading his poetry, he makes it seem so easy, and I think he has this effect on a lot of people. They say, I can do that, you know, this is sort of easy. But he's just writing things that happen. And so and then I went to, I was really bored one night, and Peter said, I'm going to take you over to Bukowski's house, you know. So he takes me over there. Some of you may have read it in the book, and he throws me in there like, here she is. I got you this woman here. And of course, I wasn't ready for him, and he was at that time he was very ugly. He actually got looking afterwards because he lost a lot of weight. He was very heavy. He had a short haircut, and he always top marks all over his face, and I thought, whoa, this guy. but I after I came home from that I wrote this poem, Dirty. His bathroom was a collage, collected months of old razor blades and razor papers in artistic disarray, glued with grime and dirt, settled and undisturbed on the bathtub, washbowl, and toilet top. A puma stone, strange poetry books and magazines, a rubber duck in the corner, a red douchebag hanging from a crooked shower pipe. A douchebag? He must be constipated. The razor was used, the toothbrush seldom, the toilet and tub a lot, towed by the packaway on the dirty floor. This guy must be something to be so oblivious to dirt. It's wonderful. When a woman keeps her place this way, they call her the pig in her house, a pig pen. And then there's my friend Helga screaming, oh, Linda, what a mess! How can you live in it? How can you? You're the messiest chick I know. Well, it takes courage, Helga. You couldn't do it. Besides, it's good exercise. I raise my feet high and it keeps the curve of my leg beautiful. Sam could have saved your marriage if he'd only had the sense to hire a maid and let you do what you want, paint and write. I sat and I sat and I thought, can this be my dirty man? He writes a dirty column and dirty stories. He's got a dirty mind and a dirty house. It's too good to be true. There must be a catch somewhere. I flushed the toilet and went back out to see.